Oh, finally, a new Fire Emblem game. I'm so happy. I can't wait to once again make a video on one of my favorite series. Alrighty, let's see what we got here. We are a professor teaching students who we can S rank with. No, not again. I can't. Please, no.
That reminds me. Do you have that thing? If you do, we want it.
Want? No, we need it. Give it to me, not her.
Don't worry. Everything's gonna be all right.
I would marry.
Now that's comedy.
Wait a minute. 1 house, 2 house, 3 house. Yes, it's finally here. The brand new Fire Emblem game back on a home console. Unless you count this. Okay, no one counts this. No! Now, I have been looking forward to this game for an extremely long time, and it feels good to review more Fire Emblem, since I don't have a 3DS capture card, and people wanted to hear my thoughts on this, and I somehow predicted the whole high school setting.
Is that a fact?
Well, here we are, Fire Emblem Three Houses, the game that makes you decide between the 3 different routes in one game this time, because let's not try that again, shall we? Also, don't worry, I won't be showing any major story stuff here. The little backstory I'll say is that you are a professor at this giant, and I mean giant, school, and you have to pick a group to teach. By which I mean, you pick the group that you want to defeat baddies with, but make sure you don't pull any funny business as a professor. Hey, I said no funny business!
That's poor form for a professor.
Jeez.
But yeah, well, to the few that are wondering what this is about, Fire Emblem is a tactical strategy game where you command a group on a grid and have to defeat the enemies on different maps, sometimes with unique requirements. Then there's the other aspect of it. Well,
You're a wizard, Harry.
and this would be one of the key things that sets it apart from the other Fire Emblem games. There is a big emphasis on this college life, Hogwarts aspect that honestly, you'll probably spend more time here than in your battles, as this place is key to helping you level up your students to make the combat easier. Now before that, I should mention the calendar, because yes, this follows the old days of the month system, where you have to decide between wandering around Hogwarts, doing some practice battles, or lectures for your students, with it all leading up to a big battle at the end of each month. Wait a minute. A calendar with a battle at the end, with you spending free time to max out social links? Doesn't this sound like Persona?
That is ridiculous.
So yes, this is the reference that people will throw around when talking about this game, how it mimics a lot of the features that Persona has, and infuses it with the Fire Emblem systems. So maybe this was the actual Persona Fire Emblem game people wanted.
It's true.
But with a calendar system, here's something I guarantee no other Fire Emblem YouTuber will mention. This reminds me of the system in FIFA's career mode.
Wait, what?
Yes, back in my edgy teen years, playing FIFA career mode was all I ever did. And in that, you went through a season managing a team, and you had to decide, gee, what will I do on this day? And there was always this opportunity cost of picking something and missing out on leveling up something else.
I see.
Okay, so now, I would assume most of you are interested in Fire Emblem and its gameplay, but a little refresher to any newcomers, because yes, this game is very friendly to new players, and I actually can suggest this as your first Fire Emblem game, because I got that question a lot while I was streaming it. So when you go into battle, you pick a team lineup, and the characters have different classes like sword, axe, bow, magic, and so on. You equip them with weapons which do break after use, and equip other things like abilities and such to then start the battle. Now this is all standard for Fire Emblem fans, and what to expect from its games. What is new, however, well, you can zoom right on in. Oh my goodness, it's like a whole nother genre.
It's more fun that way.
The team who helped make that Fire Emblem Warriors game did help here, and with the plus button, you can zoom into the map and run around. It still uses the grid system, but just makes it feel like an actual battle is taking place. Well, I kinda kept going back to my grids because I just want to see everything. Actually, let me know below if you have the game and are actively using this feature, because it is really cool seeing the insane level of detail on the maps, and I would like to know if it made the game easier or harder for you. That being said, the types of maps are great so far. Like you have ones where they funnel you into one space, small dungeons with teleporters, or even fog mechanics where you can't see anything like a certain Age of Empires. You then have player phases where you move the units certain limited spaces, and when close to an enemy, you can attack. Then after you move all your units, the enemy has their turn, and so on. This part is pretty much the Fire Emblem you know and love. It's like they knew when they were making the game, they said we have to innovate in other aspects to make it feel fresh, but make sure you keep the core gameplay the same. And I thank them for that, because honestly, there is no game that gives me the same tactical feeling. I mean, the game still has series staple Anna, so what more can you want?
Is that?
They did, however, add this battalion mechanic, which you might have seen in the trailers. This is something you add to the characters, which gives them another attack option that has a mini squad come bursting in to do damage or heal or buff your allies. Now at first, this might seem like a neat gimmick, but trust me, they do something with this later in the story, and it's so good, I won't spoil it. But just make sure all your characters have it, okay?
Yes.
And speaking of things that cost money, the weapon breakage is back, meaning each weapon has a certain amount of uses in battle before it breaks, leading to extremely low damage attacks. You can repair these at the blacksmith and it costs money and a little bit of items, as does replenishing the battalion. Now on normal difficulty, this wasn't too bad, as you will have plenty of coin, plus the church gives you an allowance each month, so I never really found myself strapped for cash. Now on the other side of that coin, you have the things you do outside of battling, and that would be running around Hogwarts. And yes, I'm gonna keep calling it that, shush.
Phooey.
So a few times a month you get a choice to either run around, do a lecture, some small non-story battle, or rest. And like Persona, if you have online, it shows what the other players are doing, and this is great for anyone who feels overwhelmed at the start on how they should be using their time, picking the free time option as you're starting in this room. Hello? Random green hair floating girl.
Phooey.
So yeah, this is Naui from Fire Emblem Awakening. No, please stop it. This dumb joke has gone on long enough. Well, yeah, okay. So I kind of wanted to have this long-running joke on all my Fire Emblem videos, where I called all the green-haired girls Naui, because yes, these games seem to really have a thing for that hair color.
That thing's green.
But I didn't expect this game to get delayed and just drag this on for too long. So yeah, I'm ending it. Okay, so this is Tiki from Fire Emblem. What? I'm correct. So this is a character in Three Houses.
Yeah, so what's her name?
So this. Why are my jokes so bad?
Oh, it's fine.
Now as you have a blank slate character, and I mean blank slate, so this then is the mystical girl you meet at the start who lives in your head. Like, no one else can see her, and she voices all your deepest thoughts. She becomes the way for your character to express themselves to the audience by bouncing around the ideas in your noggin. She also has a use in battle where she can turn back time, with 3 uses each match. It's like Mila's turn wheel from Echoes, which allows you to undo moves you aren't happy with. But I'm totally happy with my choices, and I didn't just power on through with the deaths because I kinda forgot you had to press ZL to use it.
Is that true?
Anyway, in the room you get the bulletin board, which has all these mini quests you can do in Hogwarts. These are things like this person wants this item, or you have to find this info for them. They don't feel as tacked on as other side quests, because the rewards actually are rewarding, and the stories in them do further the growth of that character. Now as a professor, you get ranked, as I assume is the case in real life. Now doing all these activities raises this, with a higher rank, meaning you increase this number, which indicates how many of these other activities you can do in a single free session. Oh, but don't worry, things like gardening or fishing don't cost any points. And yes, by the way, Fire Emblem sorta has a rhythm game finally that isn't on mobile. Why is this so fun?
How unprecedented!
But things like eating food with your units to buff them for the month ahead cost a point, or learning skills from other staff members, or having tea with the characters. Yes, don't worry, it's not as creepy as the petting in Fates. Wait, no, camera, stop, what are you doing?
It's more fun that way.
Now when all your points are used up, it means you can't do any more activities. Don't worry, you can still run around and talk to people, but I just want to point out when this happens, a bell chimes, and it sounds very much like the Futurama theme. There also is this Amiibo function, because yeah, remember Amiibos, the thing that everyone has but kind of forgot about? Well, you can tap them onto the controller and every day items will appear here, with Fire Emblem Amiibos giving more rewards. Now note, I did this once, only once in my playthrough. Like I only got up and tapped it once, but still every day the rewards are here. So I'm guessing it's either a glitch or the game is very generous with that.
Anyway,
in battles, you can see these yellow or purple spaces. This is where people online either lost or defeated enemies, and landing on these spots gives you XP or items. Unfortunately though, it does not seem like there is any form of online battles at the moment. That could change maybe with future updates. But anyway, back to Hogwarts. Running around here you find all the characters from the houses and the church, where you can talk to them to learn a little about their life and such. Now I won't go into the characters here, but a few things. You can recruit the students from other houses, but it does take a while, and me, I kinda didn't really try too much, since I like sticking with my band of misfits.
Right?
But one character caught my eye, because well, that hat. It really reminds me of something. Holy moly, is that a JoJo reference?
I knew you were gonna say that.
Now when you talk to them, depending on your answers to some questions, you get this thing which means you level up their support a bit. Don't fret, it's nothing like Fate's supports. You level up them by mainly standing next to the characters in battle, or giving them gifts in Hogwarts, and this levels the support up from C to B, and sometimes A or S. Now only the MC can have an S rank. None of the students can S rank with each other, so there's no children baby making gimmicks from the past games.
It's true.
As to the support themselves, well, it's actually kind of amazing, because finally, it's in 3D, and they actually show what the characters are doing, instead in the past games it being,
Close your eyes and imagine.
it's like how I mentioned in Xenoblade X, it felt static when the camera didn't do anything. Even with the simple pan, left and right, are so valuable in keeping the audience engaged with what's happening. Plus the characters emote so much here, including the blank old MC. But a weird thing I noticed is that not once do they animate the characters sitting or lying down, whether this was to limit the compromising angles or I don't know, it's just something amusing I noticed. But yeah, there is a reason why you want to see the supports, as it provides benefits in battles when you have them next to each other, as in characters with higher supports will do more damage standing next to their support characters. And from a story point of view, well, this is the main way you gain knowledge on their motivations and personalities and how they fit into this expansive world, because holy moly, this game's world and lore is huge. It's nothing like the past Fire Emblem games where you sort of felt confused as to who was fighting who. This game takes the time to flesh out the continent, and that every character came from different places and are from varied backgrounds, all with their own reasons and motivations, influenced by what happened in the world, where they grew up. This is probably one of the most well-realized video game worlds I have ever played. Now back to the calendar, you have lectures you do a few times a month. This is where goals come in. You see that's a little FIFA reference as well.
No.
As Three Houses is one of the most flexible Fire Emblem games in terms of customizing your units to wield whatever weapons you want. You want Edelgard to punch with her fists? Sure, go for it. You talk to the students to use up the motivation, focusing on the certain weapons you want. Then when it's a certain level, and with a seal, you can then take an exam which changes the class. Honestly, the way it's structured is so much more user and noob friendly compared to before, because I really never played around with this in the other games. And for the little icing on the cake, which I know will blow some people's minds. So with all the supports in the other games, the characters, you know, they only voiced grunts. Well, not here. Oh no, no, no. Everything is voiced. And I mean everything. Like every single line and every single support is voiced. Every single answer you do to every single choice you're given is voiced. You picking the different houses. The characters say different things depending on whether you're their teacher or not. Yes, everything. Every single dang line in the game is voice acted, and I don't know if I can handle it.
It boggles the mind.
And it's not like a game like Xenoblade 2, which had fairly unknown voice actors, at least to me. No, these are all big name voice actors in the industry. Like, okay, to add to that Persona vibe, Edelgard is voiced by Elizabeth, Sothis is Morgana's voice, which is kind of amusing since she's sleepy all the time. This is what you get for telling me to sleep at Persona 5.
Cat.
Haru voices Marianne, and Makoto voices the big old bishop lady, which will please certain fans. But, I mean, as the story goes on, when you do free time, the characters actually do say different things. It isn't the same dialogue every month when you talk to them. For example, there was this fishing tournament, and the characters all have lines for it, and yes, they're all fully voiced. There's even these paralogue battles which aren't mandatory, but flesh out the characters with a little dilemma they have, and you do a small battle. And yes, these are all fully voiced. If you know me and my videos, I love voice actors and the art of it, and it was just so good to see so much of this game voiced.
My cooking is so good, it's been called seductive.
Wait a minute. Bruh. Oh no! I mean, like, even random NPCs have fully voiced dialogue, and with well-known voice actors, which could be the reason why Nintendo only spent 2 months marketing the game. Getting all the voice actors to voice all these lines can be expensive, eh?
Very expensive.
Now, another aspect that Fire Emblem is known for is the music. And I mean, well, what do you expect? It's amazing here. It also does that dynamic music feature where, say in the battle, it plays a song, but when you attack, it changes to a dynamic variation of said song. Hey, thanks. I will say so far, I still think Fates had a better overall OST, but man, the way the game does certain themes is amazing. Like, take for example, the song that plays when you talk to Sothis, you know, the character in your head. The music plays this ominous beating sound, almost like a heartbeat, just gently pounding. You feel the music in your brain. Trust me, playing this with headphones is so good. Also, one feature that I'm not sure anyone else has mentioned is the auto advance during dialogue. So in games, there's usually this button you press, which auto advances the text, meaning you don't have to press any buttons to let it play out like an actual cutscene. Now for most games, I never do this, as every time you pick it, the game just waits a really long time at the end of each sentence. Like the character will say something, then say the next line. But in this game, whoever you are, the editor at Intelligent Systems, I don't know if you're watching this, but hats off to you. This game's auto-advance feature is the best there is. The dialogue moves perfectly by itself. There's no awkward pauses at all. Well, okay, so that's all cool and such, but I do want to mention a few little gripes I had with some things. For one, from what I can tell, you can't rewatch the past supports. So as I just said before, how you can sit back and watch the support with the auto advance. Well, if you get interrupted and miss dialogue and you don't manage to use the log feature, you can't rewatch the scene like in the older games. It probably makes it worse here than in Fates and Awakening, since the supports feel more rewatchable with a moving camera. Also, while this game is on the Switch, and there wasn't any noticeable frame drops anywhere, I did see at some points, Sothis would take a little while to pop in, and the same with the character portraits. You would first see the diamond background behind the head sometimes, and I'm like, huh? Is that a new character? No, the sprite had to load in. This does seem like something that could be patched in though. And lastly, I don't recall if it was at older games, but just a minor annoyance in the controls for moving units. So when you click on them, it shows how far they can move. And if you move somewhere, you have to press A to attack again, or B to cancel the move. Now in this game, when you press B, it kinda cancels the whole option, as you have to then reselect the character from their starting point. If I recall correctly, when you press B in the older games, the character is still selected. You don't have to re-pick them again. Maybe there's an option I'm missing, but it did feel noticeable when you're trying to maneuver your whole team. Okay, so hopefully with this, you can see how the game is really trying to change Fire Emblem for the better. It's been so long since we had a new game from the series, and they deliver on the same well-known tactics gameplay formula, but the presentation has been overhauled for the modern consoles. Then you have the new mechanics to Fire Emblem with the calendar and Hogwarts, which take elements from other franchises and combine them with the support mechanics to give you something new and fresh. It feels like they finally found a good middle ground. Instead of doing what Fates did and went fan service overload, they dialed it way back, doing things to please hardcore fans while also including many new mechanics, making it feel like something Fire Emblem has never done before. Honestly, this is shaping up to be one of my all-time favorite games. I'm really happy with the direction the franchise has gone in, and hopefully this video can help you if you do decide to jump on board the Fire Emblem train. And I know I don't usually ask things from you all, but it would mean a lot if you could share this with your Fire Emblem buddies, because yes, RamZaes is back with that Fire Emblem content, and I'm so excited to make more on it. Like I already drew the next thumbnail, it's all ready to go.
Come on.
So make sure you like this video and subscribe if you want to see me dive down deep into the depths that this game has to offer, while you sit at home sipping on your fabulous tea.
Let's all calm down and have a nice cup of tea, how about? Doesn't that sound lovely, Professor?
Every puzzle has an answer.
Trojan, RamZaes, Magnum, Sheik.